Hey, what's up everyone? MonadoMax here. It's been a very interesting week, mainly because F-Zero has been brought back to life, sort of. It's been the trendy talk of the week, and that's because the artist, who is now retired, I want to say, is saying that the F-Zero series isn't dead, but it needs a brand new spectacular idea. And is saying that they don't have that right now. I think it's interesting since, everyone's been asking for F-Zero to come back. And we haven't seen that happen. It's a very popular game series, I would say, mainly because of Captain Falcon being in Smash Bros. A lot of people want to experience the F-Zero franchise because of the Super Smash Bros. Series, putting him in every single game and always making him so awesome. So I'm going to take you back in time. I'm going to tell you everything that's been happening with the F-Zero franchise. I'm going to tell you how Nintendo can bring it back. I'm going to tell you literally everything that's been happening with the F-Zero franchise. So let's jump back into early 2015 with Shigeru Miyamoto talking about that there wouldn't be an F-Zero game for the Wii U, and probably won't be seeing an F-Zero game till Nintendo makes a new control scheme. It looks like Miyamoto wants something special with the controls to have a brand new F-Zero game. We could kind of see, now this was in the era of the Wii U, and Miyamoto always tried to make interesting games with control schemes and all of that. We could see that with Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. We saw that with Star Fox Zero, which Star Fox Zero was an awful game. And we've seen Miyamoto very interested in these control things. He had a canceled project on the Wii U that never saw the day that was going to be very interesting towards the Wii U gamepad. Now, we're here with the Nintendo Switch, which I would say isn't anything really groundbreaking in terms of the control scheme. Since, obviously you can take stuff on the go, but I'm saying like from a a control scheme, there's nothing special there. It's just like every other console. And it looks like Nintendo, or at least Miyamoto, wants something special to make F-Zero into that spectacular, grand idea that the retired artist was talking about. So one of the reasons why we have never seen F-Zero make a comeback is because Nintendo is really scared of bringing back old IPs. We've seen games like Kid Icarus Uprising, which was an amazing game. Like, literally, that is probably the best 3DS game ever released for the Nintendo 3DS. But if we look at the sales numbers of that game, it wasn't a flop, but it certainly wasn't a huge deal for Nintendo. And Kid Icarus, at the time when that game wasn't released, was that series that was, people were like, oh, we need to see a new Kid Icarus game. Like, there were so many Kid Icarus fans at that time, but they never showed up to buy the game on launch day when Kid Icarus Uprising came out for the Nintendo 3DS. And so it didn't sell bad. I think it would almost hit 2 million copies, but we're probably not going to see another Kid Icarus game because, the sales numbers, they were there, but they're not enough for Nintendo to be like, alright, let's start a traditional series. And I would like to bring this back up with Star Fox Zero, another Miyamoto game, which was a control scheme that he really liked for some reason. That was a series people were begging to come back. People were like, yes, we need a Star Fox Wii U game, we need to see the series come back, it's time. It's time to get something that's not Star Fox 64. So Star Fox Zero came out, it was supposed to be a soft reboot. People didn't like the game, because it was just an awful game, and it was also another Star Fox 64 game, pretty much. So then the sales numbers for that came out. I don't even think that game reached 1 million copies, and we're not going to see the Star Fox series come back because Nintendo tried using these old IPs, but no one's buying the games, let alone, I know with Star Fox Zero, it was a garbage game, and that's why that game sold well, but we still have to use it because it's why we're not going to see a new F-Zero, because Nintendo is scared of using these old IPs and getting bad sell numbers. Which, if you guys are wanting a brand new F-Zero game, my best advice for you guys, buy Metroid Prime 4 whenever it releases. That is an old Nintendo IP that they're bringing back from the dead, and if that sells terrible, we will never see some of those old IPs come back. That's going to be Nintendo's last chance of giving their old IPs a shot of staying alive. So make sure you buy Metroid Prime 4, or we know a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD is happening. Make sure you pick up that That way these sales numbers can be good for Nintendo to be like, okay, let's bring back these old franchises. Now, something I had of an idea of what Nintendo should do if they're that scared of bringing back old IPs. Why not make like a little, not low budget, but not like your mega budget games that they put out? Why not do like a little eShop only game that's like $20 to $30? That's digital only, unfortunately. And they could use the F-Zero name and just make a F-Zero eShop game that's cheap. I think if they made that and they saw how high the sales numbers were for that game, Nintendo might be like, okay, let's use the F-Zero name. There's the interest is there. We see the numbers of the eShop title we're making. Let's do it. F-Zero has been kind of on a decline every time they release the game. Their most recent game obviously was F-Zero GX for the GameCube. That didn't sell bad, but it didn't sell good. I know it sold over, I believe, I know it sold over 1 million copies. I don't have the exact numbers right here. But I feel like that shouldn't be blamed on F-Zero. It was released for the GameCube, which wasn't exactly a major successful console for Nintendo. So I think partially the reason that game not selling well is because it was on a platform that wasn't selling for Nintendo. And a lot of people talk about F-Zero GX not selling well, but they also don't talk about how the GameCube didn't really perform that well. I think it's almost got a little bit over 20 million units, might be wrong about that, but I see people not talking about that, and that sucks. Nintendo talks about that they need a new F-Zero idea, and I don't know about you guys, I don't want them to recreate a new idea, just make a racing game. They might be like, oh, well, we don't want two racing games, because obviously they got Mario Kart, which is a very, very successful franchise for Nintendo, well, because obviously it's Mario, so anything Mario is going to be pretty much successful, unless you're Super Mario Maker 2. Joking, that game did sell well. But I want to talk more about what Nintendo should do. If Nintendo really feels like seriously feels like they need a new idea, which I don't think they do, I'm throwing this idea out there. F-Zero rhythm racing game. You follow the rhythm on the racetrack. That's not exactly what people want, and I don't know if that would sell. But if Nintendo needs ideas, ideas are there. Me personally, you could release exactly the same thing if dude, you know what? Make a F-Zero GX Switch port. I guarantee you that will sell very well. Well, I don't know if it's gonna sell probably like 2 million copies, which that would be good. Those are good numbers for the Switch from a first-party title. And I mean, I'm bringing up all these numbers about F-Zero GX not selling well. Anything that sells over 1 million copies that's the exclusive title is all the time really good. So let's not forget that. So guys, that's all I have to say on the F-Zero series. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you like the ideas that I am throwing out? Do you think the series deserves another shot of coming back? I mean, we've seen, yeah, let's use Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3, I don't know the Wii U numbers. I know it was a little bit over 1 million copies. We saw that game came out for the Nintendo Switch. We saw that game is, at the time of that investors meeting, it was almost at 2 million copies. It probably is already over 2 million copies for the Nintendo Switch, Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Pikmin was given another shot to sell well on a Nintendo platform. Why can't F-Zero get the exact same treatment? You could use one of these ports that I mentioned, F-Zero GX. You could bring back that, give it a chance. I think it could sell well. I legit think if they brought back something that was good from the F-Zero series, it could sell very well. It deserves another shot, and I obviously understand from Nintendo's standpoint why they wouldn't bring that back, especially if games like Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime HD, Trilogy doesn't sell well. That's on us. If we don't buy these games and we don't deliver the sales numbers to show Nintendo to bring back these old franchises, that is on us. I plan on buying up both of the Metroid Prime Trilogy games that are coming out in the near future. Whenever that happens, we know Prime HD is a thing, and we know Prime 4 is obviously happening. So I've been talking for way too much. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to check out my Discord server. follow me on Twitter, and don't forget to backslash that subscribe button and like the video. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.